started as early as 1926. They started a town called Monsanto in Illinois. They did this because back then, all the regulations and environmental protections were up to local jurisdictions. So if they were the town, they got to set the rules. They also did this to avoid taxes. I mean, they're going to set their own tax rate, obviously, if they're doing that too. Today, this town is known as Sauget. A city called Nitro, where they were making Agent Orange, a valve blew there, and it blew a chemical called dioxin, which is a byproduct of what they're making Agent Orange. So Agent Orange is a mixture of two chemicals together that used to make that. And one of those chemicals is Roundup. It's 2,4-D. So that's where Roundup came from. It was originally one of the chemicals used to make Agent Orange. Now when that happened in that town, that was in 1949. The entire town was coated with this chemical. The residents, or rather the descendants of those people, were finally paid out a total of $93 million in 2012. This happened in 1949. This lawsuit and many others was not actually paid by Monsanto, but paid by a company called Solutia. So in 1997, so Monsanto could keep a clean name, they created a separate company and offloaded all the subsidiaries they had that were going to have lawsuits so that Monsanto's name wouldn't be directly affected by it. This includes another town called Anniston, where they had to pay out over $700 million because of damages they did to the environment there. They did testing on fish there, and within 5 minutes, the fish lost their equilibrium and died. Monsanto's lawyers and employees have gone on to become lobbyists and other government officials, including Clarence Thomas, a Supreme Court Justice, who has ruled in favor of Monsanto every time. There have been times where his vote was not even a deciding factor. He could have abstained from voting, seeing as, he was not impartial, obviously. At any given time, at least 70% of Monsanto's lobbyists have previously held a government job. So this is where the term comes from, the revolving doors, where they start off as a lawyer for a firm, and then either get a government job or they become a lobbyist, and they get a government job, they go back into the private sector in something in a related field or related industry, and they go back to the government again. The best example of that is Michael R. Taylor. He was instrumental in getting the bovine growth hormones approved, and they don't have to be labeled at all. So originally they said, hey, let's have labels on these to let people know, well, that's not necessary. So he started off as a lawyer, and then he went to work for the FDA. And for the FDA, he was a public health commissioner.
That's like insider trading on the stock market.
Right. So after being in the FDA, before he was just a lawyer working for a lobbyist firm, then he went to the FDA, then he became the vice president of public relations for Monsanto and public safety. And now, just recently, he's put back into the FDA. So that's the best example of, they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and Monsanto will tell you they don't have to prove that their products are healthy. That's the FDA's job. Their job is to make money.
Sure.
I think it's pretty clear the FDA isn't testing anything, so we have to stop the revolving door at any and all costs, period. Woo!